You know guys, in today's video we have found an ex-developer that has some intel exposing the development and creation process of Call of Duty titles nowadays. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not really a good sign for the future COD titles. And in addition to that, we are also talking about some things when it comes to Black Ops 7. We have Gooch Slickers and a bunch of other people turning their backs on Call of Duty. And on top of that, we're of course roasting the ever-living dog shit out of Activision, the developers that deserve it, and the Gooch Slickers out there that are in defense mode for Activision. So I want to get into it super quickly, but before we get into anything guys, because this is a fat ass video, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor, alright? Please leave a like on today's video and subscribe if you're new. My next video is going to be absolutely massive. I am exposing something crazy that I'd like to share with everybody, but first, everybody needs to leave a like, you gotta subscribe, and down in the comments below, hashtag Fooly50, we're on the way to 50,000 subscribers, and honestly, we might have hit 45,000 subscribers, I don't know, we'll see. But I don't want to waste any more time on this, guys. Let's get straight into it. This comes out of a guy named Warzone Alerts. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this guy's a Gooch Slicker, which is why some of his takes are pretty ass. But he comes out here with this tweet talking about, why hasn't Activision started teasing Call of Duty Black Ops 7 yet? We are tired of BO6. And I'd like to make a very quick correction here, okay? It's not that we're tired of Black Ops 6 necessarily. We are tired of Call of Duty. At this point in the life cycle, we're in May, we're getting to the summer season, and the way Call of Duty has been going since MW 2019, by the halfway point, honestly, like, this game is completely irrelevant, okay? And it's shown everywhere, in every single metric that you want to look at. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's Twitch views, YouTube views, the player count, or the player count on Steam, the numbers are going to show a fat ass decline. And if you disagree with that, I'm sorry, but mouthful of balls, there's nothing that I can tell you that will prove to you otherwise, because you're just ignorant if you think Call of Duty is in a healthy state right now, even post Verdansk. At least that's the way that I'm taking it in right now, okay? Obviously there's a ton of issues with Call of Duty, but the burnout is insane right now, okay? I haven't played Call of Duty in a couple of weeks again. I know this happens very, very often. I haven't even played on my Smurf account, gripping and licking, because honestly, I'm just not interested. On top of that, I got finals, I got some graduations to attend to. I'm planning some cool shit out for the channel, like, Call of Duty is literally the last priority. I would rather go outside and collect garbage, go over to Skid Row, find Nick Stag over there, and him a Happy Meal with his starving ass, than play Call of Duty. Call of Duty is literally in the back of my mind. You guys are probably watching old gameplay, and to that point, not only is Call of Duty tiring, but the Gooch Slickers and the fanboys that defend this nonsensical garbage are right up there with them, because I can tell you guys right now that I'm not playing the game, and these short bus riding fanboys will come out here talking about, oh, if you don't play the game, how can you talk shit about it, man? You're just hating for views. And then I come out here and give you guys new gameplay or tell you guys that I'm playing Season 3 Reloaded on a Smurf account, and they'll come out here talking about, oh, well, you're talking shit and you're still playing the game. Oh, that means you're hating for views.
That's just the tip of this iceberg. Read, nigga! Read!
It's like talking to a brick wall, so they're not helping the cause whatsoever. If anything, they're making it even worse for everybody. And while I was scouring Twitter, guys, looking for something to rage bait on, I came across a very, very interesting tweet, okay? Again, when it comes to the state of Call of Duty, there is literally no saving it, okay? Verdansk couldn't do it, a bunch of updates couldn't do it, none of this nostalgia baiting has worked in the long term, the cheating and hacking problem is still as bad as ever, and another thing that briefly needs to be spoken about comes from this content creator T-Dog, where he comes out here and says, just made a new account to play Black Ops 6 tonight for a video. The first thing you're greeted with when you boot up the game is the Black Cell Pass. Once you decline that, you are then taken to the Battle Pass screen. Once you decline that, you are then taken to the store. After that, of course, you need to tab over to play a match, but when you do that, you go over the 420 event and get hit with a cutscene and then need to decline buying that. Then you finally pick a game mode. I get we need to make money, but we gotta chill a little on pushing the store just a tad. Well, the reason we're pushing the store so heavily is because none of the content in the game satisfies people with a fucking brain. Again, it doesn't matter if you're playing Verdansk. You can be playing Rebirth Island, you could be playing Black Ops 6 multiplayer, you could be playing ranked play. It seems like none of those things are captivating an audience with an IQ above that of a fucking goldfish. So it makes sense why they need to heavily prioritize the shop. Because the only people that are buying the shop are, of course, the people that enjoy the game, aka people that are more likely than not absolute fucking cavemen. I'm glad people are finally starting to realize that, hey, before I can even get into a game that is lackluster, why is it that all of these things are just being advertised in my face back to back to back to fucking back? Well, the answer is right there, because once you get past it, this game offers absolutely nothing. Black Ops 6 is fucking balls. Call of Duty Verdansk and Warzone Season 3, balls. So yeah, it's not a stretch to say that collectively, I think everybody would agree, we're pretty fucking tired of Call of Duty, so I'm not necessarily against coming out with teasers of Black Ops 7, at least it gives us something to talk about. But then I realized when it comes to Black Ops 7, what do you think there is to tease or talk about other than like the potential wall running that has already been leaked? And as this Caffrey guy has stated underneath that post of Black Ops 7, they're probably not even close to finishing it, where Warzone Alert says true. And guys, with that, we come to the next leg of today's video, which is a complete and utter expose of what is going on with Call of Duty behind the scenes in the creation and development of COD. And I told you guys this was going to be a good one, so if you haven't done it yet, please leave a fucking like. What the fuck are you doing, alright? Guys, this comes out from a guy named Greg Reisdorf. I really don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's the former multiplayer creative director for Sledgehammer Games. And if you want to see how recent his work has been in COD, he worked on MW 2019 Part 3, as you can see in this screenshot right here, where he's talking about the Get High mode. And I understand I've already made a bunch of jokes talking about the degeneracy behind these weed events, but this game mode was actually incredibly fun, and what a lot of people have been telling me was that MW 2019 Part 3 is probably the best Call of Duty that we've had since Black Ops 4, to which, honestly, I think I agree. I show you guys that just to give you the little briefing that the guy we're talking about, he's a reliable source, okay? Also, it seems like he knows what the fuck he's doing, and since he's a previous developer, he probably fucking hates me, which is okay. It happens, you know what I'm saying? The scat master is not for everybody, but this guy comes out with a tweet at the time that I'm recording this, where he says, "In my experience, the first 2 years of a 3-year development cycle were wasted consistently."
What?
Now guys, there are 2 games that come to mind immediately where they've had multiple years to work on the title and it comes out and it's absolute astronomically bullshit and horseshit and dog shit all combined into one. The 2 games that immediately come to my mind are MW 2019 Part 2 and Black Ops 6.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
Yeah, just saying those 2 games in a sentence together is just one of the nastiest things to ever come out of my mouth. Guys, we have an ex-developer here, the creative director of Sledgehammer Games previously, talking about in a 3-year development cycle, the first 2 of those years are completely fucking wasted. How does this even happen? And what does this mean for the state of Call of Duty when you're developing a game that has a due date? Well, he goes a little bit in depth here, and I'm actually interested with what he has to say. This guy, Expert Fusion, responds to him and says, "Is this something you feel is inevitable with game development, or is it something that could change given the right circumstances and the right ideas?" Phenomenal question, and Greg responds with, "It matters how you test and validate ideas. Spending hundreds of millions on the hope you'll be successful is pretty crazy. Short dev cycles, maximum validation." If you're not catching on to what he's saying, he's essentially saying, if you are given the creative freedom to just make your game the way that it needs to be produced organically, and those creative ideas are supported and validated and acknowledged, then potentially you get a pretty nice title. And I don't know about you guys, but the creativity around Call of Duty for the last like 6-7 years hasn't really been there, except for maybe 1 or 2 games. The first one kind of being Cold War a little bit, and the other one being MW 2019 Part 3 significantly more obvious. And where am I going with this? Guys, when it comes to games like MW 2019 Part 2 or a game like Black Ops 6 where there's almost no creativity whatsoever, and the first 2 years are essentially spent spitballing ideas that are being rejected and people disagreeing with where they want to go, because instead of actually doing what the developers want, you're essentially just following Activision's orders as to what's going to make you the most money. And a game like MW 2019 Part 2 and Black Ops 6 are literally the epitome of that. Absolutely no creativity. Everything here is essentially just nostalgia baiting and overpricing and overhyping the shop. I mean, MW 2019 Part 2 literally introduced Black Cell to us, and Black Ops 6 introduced the Event Pass to us, along with all of these cringy ass bundles that have seemingly got worse and worse and worse. It sounds like to me, in the final year of development where they realize, holy shit, we have a game that's coming out very, very soon. We actually need to just put whatever the fuck together, and they toss it out for the community to see. That's the exact outcome that we see when these games launch half-assed, completely unpolished, several bugs throughout. The direction of anything literally makes no fucking sense. And this entire idea that I'm telling you guys is literally confirmed by the guy when people are coming out here talking about, I feel like the ideas are just thrown around, and then for the last year the team actually locks in to make stuff, right? He says, absolutely. In this one, he says, we don't know what we're making. Holy fuck, we have to make something. To which Greg responds with, ship it. And that's exactly what we see when these games launch. Just uninspired, directionless titles that are only successful because Call of Duty is Call of Duty. The Gooch Slickers try their goddamn hardest to prevent any type of criticism from reaching Activision and just enable them to continue bullshitting everybody. And as far as I'm concerned, the most successful titles are Modern Warfare titles or fucking Black Ops titles. So yes, it's very blatantly obvious that the creativity is simply not there, and you have ex-developers that are exposing this nonsense for what it is. And this guy's not even done. He has another tweet coming out here talking about developers spend too much wasted time making AAA games. The main culprits: indecision, doubt, and tech build-outs. Not gonna lie, I'm not too sure what tech build-outs are, and that's just because I'm the fucking SCAD master, not the tech master, alright? But when it comes to indecision and doubt, I mean, think about it. If you're one of these developers with actual passion and you're not just in it for the money, and you present this idea like, hey, I realize that for the last 5-6 years, we've been making exact replica copies of MW 2019 because it sold incredibly well and it was well received by the masses because it was literally fucking nostalgia bait and Warzone carried the absolute dog shit out of it. Do you think we can maybe pivot and do something a little bit different? To which my assumption is Activision will look at this and say, no. Absolutely not. And I mean, we've already talked about the work environments from some of these developers that have come out and exposed to Activision after the fact. So I'm not too sure how many times I need to reinforce this point, but Call of Duty is so uninspired. What we've been talking about in today's video is exactly why people are dropping off the game, which is exactly why these developers are no longer inspired, and some of the ones that are inspired or have passion essentially just get booted off after they've done their work. And if I were a betting man, it's probably because Activision feels like they can get somebody else for cheaper who is not going to defy what they want, which is the end goal of just making money at the expense of the community's experience. Once again, Activision is anti-community and pro-money. When you realize that, you understand why these developers are saying the shit that they're saying. You understand why these content creators like myself and several other people out there are talking the shit that we talk. It's because at one point in time, Call of Duty actually prioritized the passion and the inspiration from these developers, and they gave a fuck about what the community thought, and they actually wanted the quality to be so high in the games that whoever was playing it because they enjoyed it and not just because they can go out there and buy a fucking Seth Rogen skin and tell everybody in the goddamn world that they're a degenerate fucking loser.
Shit on fat ass, hold that shit, eat a donut.
But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. I feel like today's video was extremely packed, so just let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.